You've seen the brochure, a diverse group of students, smiling, laughing on a perfectly manicured lawn. The sun is shining, the future is bright. They sold you on an idea. They told you college is the golden ticket, the one-way pass to the American dream. It's the key that unlocks every door to a good life, a stable career, a fat paycheck. So you signed on the dotted line, you filled out the FAFSA, you clicked accept on loan agreements, with more fine print than a smartphone's terms and conditions. You believe the story because, let's be honest, we all wanted to believe it. Then, 4 years fly by in a blur of late-night study sessions, cheap pizza, existential crises. You toss your graduation cap in the air. You take the photos. You hug your family. You did it. You're a graduate. But then, about 6 months later, the first bill arrives. It's not a congratulatory card. It's a stark reminder of the price of that dream. Suddenly, that bright, shiny future feels a little less certain. That diploma starts to feel less like a ticket to freedom and more like a receipt for a purchase you'll be paying off for the next 20 years. Let's talk about freedom. The freedom to choose your path, to chase a passion, to build a life that actually makes you happy. That's the real dream, right? But student debt puts a pair of golden handcuffs on you from day one. It doesn't just slow you down, it steers you. It forces your hand. Suddenly, your first job out of college isn't about finding the right fit, building skills in a field you love, making a difference in the world. It's about one thing, and one thing only: finding the biggest possible paycheck to throw at your loan servicer. This is what I call the passion tax. You spent 4 years studying social work, art history, environmental science. You wanted to contribute something meaningful. But then you graduate with hundreds of thousands in loans, and that monthly payment is knocking on your door. That non-profit job that would have been so fulfilling. It pays $35,000 a year. Meanwhile, the day sport, there's a corporate sales job that you would absolutely hate, but it pays $65,000. For too many, the choice is made for them. You take the money, you put your passion on a shelf, telling yourself it's just for a little while. But a little while often turns into a career. This isn't just a feeling, it's a measurable phenomenon. Lenders look at something called your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. It's a simple number: how much you owe each month versus how much you earn. A high DTI makes you look like a huge risk. Want to get a mortgage to buy a house? Sorry, your DTI is too high. Need a loan for a reliable car to get to that job you hate? Denied. The debt becomes a black mark on your financial identity, closing doors that your degree was supposed to open. It limits not just your career, but your ability to build a stable life. So you become debt-driven. You're not making decisions based on your long-term goals or personal happiness. You're making decisions based on the short-term need to service your debt. You stay in a job with a toxic boss because the pay is good. You turn down a startup opportunity with massive growth potential because it doesn't offer a big enough salary right now. The damage from student debt isn't a one-time hit. It's a series of dominoes tipping over, one by one, throughout your entire adult life. The first domino is your career choice, as we've seen. But the chain reaction doesn't stop there. The next domino to fall is wealth creation. Every dollar you send to your loan servicer is a dollar you can't invest in your future. You're playing financial catch-up from the moment you graduate, while your debt-free peers are already building a lead. They're putting money into a 401k, letting the magic of compounding interest work for them. Let's be clear about what that means. If you delay saving for retirement by just 10 years because of student loans, the consequences are massive. A 25-year-old who invests $300 a month could have over $1 million by age 65. But if you wait until you're 35 to start, you'd need to invest more than double that amount each month to reach the same goal. Your debt isn't just costing you money now, it's costing you a fortune in potential future earnings. It's a multi-decade penalty for getting an education. The next domino is major life milestones. The dream of homeownership? For many young people, it remains just that. A 2019 study by the Federal Reserve found that a $1,000 increase in student loan debt causes a 1 to 2 percentage point drop in the home ownership rate for young adults. That means your student loans are literally keeping you from building equity and putting down roots, starting a family, opening a small business, or even just taking a risk on a new venture. All of these life-defining moments are delayed or abandoned because the financial foundation is too shaky. And it goes even deeper, affecting your long-term career trajectory. That safe, high-paying job you took to cover your loans might have a low ceiling for growth. You prioritized immediate cash over a role that offered better skills, mentorship, and long-term advancement opportunities. So, while your peers, who took a slight pay cut for a better growth path, are now getting promotions and significant raises, you might find yourself stuck. The very decision you made to get ahead financially could end up causing you to earn less over your entire lifetime. It's the ultimate cruel irony. We talk a lot about the financial cost of student debt, but we need to talk more about the human cost. The numbers on the screen are one thing, the weight in your chest is another. This isn't just about budgets and interest rates, it's about the constant, low-grade hum of anxiety that becomes the soundtrack to your 20s and 30s. It's the feeling of being trapped, of starting a race 50 yards behind the starting line. That mental burden is real, and it is heavy. This constant financial pressure can be corrosive. It seeps into every corner of your life. It makes it harder to focus at work. It can strain relationships with friends and family. It can lead to sleepless nights as you lie awake doing the grim math in your head, wondering how you'll ever get ahead. A 2021 study found that 1 in 14 student loan borrowers have experienced suicidal thoughts over their debt. Let that sink in. Our system for funding higher education is literally making people feel like their lives are not worth living. This is not a side effect, it's a public health crisis hiding in plain sight. You did everything you were supposed to do. You studied hard, you got good grades, you earned a degree, and your reward is a sense of hopelessness. That feeling can be paralyzing. It can kill your motivation to learn new skills, to network, or to look for better opportunities, because what's the point? The debt mountain seems so impossibly high that taking a few small steps feels futile. This despair is one of the most dangerous parts of the debt trap, because it stops you from even trying to find a way out, and it creates a culture of silence and shame. People don't like to talk about how much they owe. It feels like a personal failure, even though it's a systemic one. Breaking that silence is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Acknowledging the mental toll is not a sign of weakness, it's a necessary act of self-preservation. Okay, so the problem is huge. It's systemic. It's scary. But feeling hopeless is a luxury we can't afford. It's time to shift from defense to offense. You need a strategy. You need a plan. The best way to deal with a debt trap is to avoid it in the first place, or at least minimize the damage, and the first, most important escape route is finding free money. I'm talking about grants, bursaries, scholarships. This is money you do not have to pay back. Ever. It's the holy grail. So many people hear scholarships and think it's only for straight-A valedictorians or star athletes. That is a myth. There is a scholarship out there for almost everything. Left-handed? There's a scholarship for that. Star Trek fan? Klingon language scholarships exist, made a prom dress from duct tape. There's a scholarship for that too. Scholarships exist based on heritage, hobbies, career goals, your parents' employer, the town you grew up in. You just have to be willing to look. The key is to turn it into a hustle. Treat applying for scholarships like a part-time job. Dedicate a few hours every week to searching online databases, FastWeb, scholarships.com, Department of Labor search tool. Go to your high school guidance office or your college's financial aid office. Ask for lists of local awards. Don't get discouraged. You will apply for many. You will be rejected by most. That's part of the game. Every yes is a victory. Alright, let's talk about one of the smartest, most underrated moves in the entire education game, the community college two-step. For some reason, there's a stigma around community college. People see it as less than a 4-year university. We need to kill that idea right now. Community college isn't a backup plan, it's a brilliant strategic move. It is the single best way to slash the cost of your bachelor's degree in half while getting the exact same piece of paper at the end. Here's how the two-step works. You enroll locally, knock out Gen Eds, English 101, basic math, history, science, smaller classes, teaching-focused professors, and a fraction of the cost. The average 2-year tuition is around $3,800 versus over $10,000 in-state public and nearly $40,000 private. Then you transfer, finish at the university, and your diploma just has the university's name, the same degree, prestige, and alumni network. For a fraction of the price. You could walk away with maybe $20,000 in debt instead of $80,000. That is life-changing. Be strategic. Articulation agreements, advisor meetings, map the 4-year plan, and make sure every class counts. This isn't about settling for less. It's about being smarter than the system that wants to bury you in debt. What if I told you there's a path where you could get an education, build valuable skills and start a career, all while getting paid? A path with little to no debt. It exists. It's not a fantasy. It's the world of earn while you learn programs. It's a powerful alternative to the traditional debt-for-degree model. This includes everything from formal apprenticeships to co-op programs to skilled trades that pay you to learn on the job. This is about building a career, not just a credential. We tend to think plumbers and electricians, stable, high-paying and needed, but today, you can find apprenticeships in IT, cybersecurity, healthcare, and advanced manufacturing. Companies are desperate for skilled workers and will pay you a full-time salary with benefits while they train you. You spend a few days a week on the job and maybe one day in a classroom. After a few years, you have a certification, zero debt, and a guaranteed job. Co-op programs alternate semesters of classes with semesters of full-time, paid work in your field. This helps you pay tuition as you go, and you graduate with a year or more of real-world experience. You're not just a graduate, you're a proven employee, with a massive advantage. Don't sleep on the skilled trades. The 4-year degree obsession created shortages, and wages have been rising. Many expert welders, mechanics, and medical technicians earn more than people with bachelor's degrees. And they do it without a mountain of student debt. These paths aren't a lesser option. They are a smart, direct route to a stable, prosperous life. It requires a shift in mindset. Look, for some people, borrowing money for college is unavoidable. Maybe you've already maxed out scholarships, and the earn while you learn path isn't right for your field. If you have to borrow, you need to do it like a pro. You need to be surgical. The goal is to minimize the amount you borrow and understand every single string attached. Never, ever just blindly accept the full loan amount offered to you. That's how the trap is set. Borrow only what you absolutely need to cover tuition and essential costs, not your spring break fund. Understand the difference between a standard student loan and a student line of credit. Loans may accrue interest on the full disbursement immediately. A line of credit only charges interest on what you actually use. Read every word. Understand the interest rate, whether it's fixed or variable, and what the repayment terms are. The dream was free. The debt is very, very real. This isn't just a you problem, it's a national crisis. Over 43 million Americans are currently saddled with federal student loan debt, totaling a staggering $1.6 trillion. That's more than all the credit card debt in the entire country. Think about that. We collectively owe more for our education than we do for all the TVs, vacations, and impulse buys we've ever made. The system promised upward mobility, but for millions it delivered an anchor. An anchor that weighs you down, slows your progress, and dictates the terms of your life long after you've left campus. Welcome to the great bait and switch. The worst part is how normal it has become. We talk about student debt like it's a rite of passage, like it's just the cost of admission to adulthood, but it shouldn't be normal to start your professional life tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the hole. It shouldn't be normal for your first major life decision to be followed by decades of financial anxiety. The marketing was beautiful, a picture-perfect vision of success, but the product itself, for far too many, is a debt trap designed to keep you running in place, just trying to stay even. The worst part is how normal it has become.